Yeah, Solid Hill TDS, what's up? Yeah, come on. I.O.W. Sports Network, late night edition. Let's go. Come on.
We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Modelo Le Cigar. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card mark. We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Modelo Le Cigar. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card mark. Hey. L Boogie with the hot flame, ashtray full of top names, little tree for your membrane. This the 9-hour time frame. I just snatched up a 6-pack, got my hands on a lid pack, whipping up a little batch of snacks. Yeah, man, I think I'm all set. Late night, can't sleep, go ahead and just tap in. Better grab you a cold one, and we about to get some laps in. Wild card on the microphone, he'll hit you with a couple flurries. Y'all need to just strap in for some entertainment sports commentary. We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Modelo Le Cigar. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card mark. We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, folks? What's going on? Hey, your man Wildcard Mar back in the building. You know what it is. It's Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. And if it's Taco Tuesday, you already know you get the dynamic duo of Wildcard Mar and Randy Weber. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm feeling great. The sun is shining in New York right now. That also might be buildings on fire.
Hey, this is wild. My man is really, really. Hey, you know what? Because y'all have suffered for so long, bro. Talk your shit, damn it.
Nobody believed in the Knicks. Even most Knicks fans didn't believe in the Knicks, man. Like we've suffered for so long. So many horrible lineups. Haven't been to the Eastern Conference Finals since the year 2000. And we're here again. And we could very easily go all the way. I'm very confident that we beat the Pacers to get to the finals. Finals is going to be tricky regardless of which team in the West wins, but
yes,
that one's going to be tough. But I mean, just even getting there, man, like considering where we came from, like that we have a championship core, right? Like I think we need some more bench depth. I've been saying that for a while to really push, but our starting five is a championship starting five.
Hey, you got to take it as you can, bro.
Right.
You got to take it as you can.
Well, right now, as is, and we're almost at the finals.
Yeah, almost at the front. Hey, look, I'm just proud of y'all because obviously, last conversation we had last Tuesday, we was worried about y'all just closing the deal, and you let one game get out of hand, and you kind of let them get life in that game 5. You didn't close out in Boston, and I was like, ooh, what's going on now? Like, close it out, stop playing, don't play with your food, get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
But no, game 6, no doubt.
Yeah, and I think a big reason for that was the Knicks probably, and Thibodeau especially, probably didn't know what the Celtics clearly changed their offense a lot once Tatum was out. They started attacking the rim more. They prioritized Jaylen Brown, and his skill set is more getting to the rim than Tatum's is. So that was a big change in offensive style that the Knicks probably just didn't anticipate. They weren't properly prepared for. But after seeing it once, they were able to close it out by the time they got back to the Garden. And the Celtics did not play well in Game 6. Like they kind of fell apart. I'm not taking any credit away from the Knicks. The Knicks, they all played great, but it was at least as much the Celtics really falling apart. So, I mean, that's why the game was as dominant as it was.
Mm-hmm.
And Jaylen Brown copping a feel on Josh Hart. I want the zesty accusations off of Cat. I think I'm Cat has never done anything that egregious,
Hey,
that
bro.
wild, that saucy.
He ain't beating them allegations, dog. Sorry, dog. He ain't beating them allegations, man.
Look, I'm just saying, Cat never grabbed anybody like that. I'm just saying, like maybe Jaylen Brown needs some of those allegations towards him. I would like some eyes in that direction.
Hey, Phil. He needed to take damn Josh Hart on a full-fledged 5-course meal type of date. The way he went grabbing for some tools, man. I was like,
Yeah.
God, Lord, Jaylen, what are you doing, bro?
For real. Like if you're going for like a dirty nut shot, like back of the hand, one hit, right? Like what's all this? Like what are you doing there?
No. He did the old school grab his dick and twist. Yeah, he did that.
Yes, he did. It wasn't enough though.
Hey, he did the old school the meme where they was at the USC fight. It was like grab his dick.
Yeah, no, I was waiting for Josh Hart to knock his ass out, and he almost did. He almost did for that.
Yeah, it got a little hairy. I will say this, regardless, I won't, and we talked about it. I won't let Boston fans take away from what New York did. Don't feed me with the this guy wasn't available. That if we had this guy, it'd have been different. And
Tatum was only out one game, and they were down in the third game he played before he went out. Like, no excuses.
Yeah, they had already blew that lead when he was in the game still. So, and that was a 15-point lead.
And they won one game without him, which is the same amount of games they won with him.
Exactly. I don't subscribe to that crap, and the reason why I don't subscribe, I don't know, because I have a love-hate relationship with Draymond Green. Sometimes I think he's batshit crazy, but there's times where I think he's on. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And this was after they got eliminated. He said, all right, I'm not going to play that game. Look, we got eliminated, but we're not going to do if this person was here, if Steph did get hurt, it'd be a different scenario. No, he's like, I'm not going to have that energy. Because it was a finals that we won in 2015 where Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving were hurt. So you never know what happens when who is or ain't available. So I respected Draymond for having that comment and having the self-awareness to say, hey, yeah, we got some championships where Caps was missing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm damn sure not going to come up here and say, oh, well, if we had Steph, things would be different. Nah, I keep the same energy. So I respected him on that. Yeah. Now, having that conversation, that's why I'm not going to allow Boston fans to sit there and poo-poo and cry and bitch and moan about, who was there and who wasn't. Now, end of the day, even when you had Jason Tatum, you were giving up double-digit leads. With or without him, you were giving up double-digit leads.
Yeah.
With or without him, you let the Knicks come back in that series. You lost. That's just call it a loss. Straight up or down what it is. It's just a loss.
Right? Exactly. And the media's 100% been behind that. The media hates getting things wrong. Boston's one of their favorites. So they've been pushing that whole narrative like, oh, if only Boston could make those shots. Well, there's a reason they didn't, right? Like, it's not just they forgot how to play basketball. Like,
they weren't making shots. Point blank, period.
Yeah, exactly. In game 2 of the 63s that they threw up, only 9 of them were wide open. So that's a lot. That means that they were being defended well. So yeah, they missed a lot of shots. It's because, at least in part, they were defended well. And that's not just magic, right? Like, it's because the Knicks defense stepped up.
Randy, where have you ever seen motherfuckers shooting 100 threes in 2 games? 100 threes in 2 games and was only shooting 25%. Ain't no way I'm going to say that you walked out with W's. Ain't no way.
Right. And also, in regards to the injury conversation, right? Like, there are cases where it's relevant. There's cases where it's not. Like, not all injuries are equal. I made a big point last week about the Pacers' journey winning the playoff games that they did. And in those games, it was substantial players, and it was pretty much the whole series. right? With the exception of the last 2 games of the Cavs, they have benefited significantly from injuries throughout the whole thing. The Tatum injury is very different because it was the last win, was the only one that didn't include him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there are cases where you can point to that and be like, well, if this team had been fully healthy, they would have won, right? Like, should a player be bitching and whining? No. Like, but we as analysts can be like game 1 and 2 of Cavs versus Pacers. Would the Pacers have still won if everybody was fully healthy? Probably not. And we can say that. But they're here, right? Like, that's the reality, is they're here. Would they have beaten the Knicks last year? No. Would they have beaten the Bucks last year without Giannis and Dame? No. Would they have gotten through the Bucks this year without Dame? Maybe. I think that one's more debatable.
Yeah.
But the point is, they're here now. So we got to just deal with the reality of the fact that they're here.
Yeah.
But we can use that and incorporate that and like, okay, now they're playing a fully healthy team. Have they proven to us that they're good enough to beat a fully healthy playoff caliber team?
And we about to find.
And I think you could say with the Pacers,
Yeah.
you know,
It's a question mark.
Yeah. Outside of game 4 and 5 against the Cavs, no, they haven't.
Yeah. It's a question mark. Because like you said, they didn't play a full healthy and Cavs. And look, I'm not using I'll never use injuries as an excuse. Never.
Mhm.
But we still obviously, you know, still got to play the you never know part, because you don't know. You know, it's
a way for us to contextualize the next matchup. Like,
yes.
Okay, how does their record accurately reflect how good they are, or was this luck and circumstances?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you gotta, I guess, sometimes take it as it comes, and sometimes with a grain of salt, and just kind of apply. You know, at the end of the day, you still got to apply logic and common sense.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. No. Exactly. That's true. There are cases where teams' records or teams' playoff successes or losses don't actually reflect how good that team is. So if we're trying to judge Knicks versus Pacers and OKC versus Timberwolves, we have to look at, okay, how did they get to where they are now? And I think that's really important when looking at the Pacers. It's one of the reasons why I'm so confident that the Pacers were the 6th seed. You know, so they were a good team. Were they a team anybody expected to get this far a second time? No, right? Yeah. But they're a good team. I don't think that we can just dismiss them.
Oh, no.
So we'll talk about that when we kind of do the analysis, who we think. Obviously, I think the Knicks are going through.
Oh,
we
yeah.
can talk about why and then see whether we agree on that.
Yeah, I definitely. I think we got an idea, your prediction of how it's going to go. But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you know, especially us as wrestling fans as well. I mean, WWE had this written in the script written in June last year. So
yeah, they knew.
Yeah, they knew. I will say this, as we get, you know, let's get to that point. Like you said, let's kind of analyze it and break down why. Obviously, you said it's Knicks in 5. Kind of give us our breakdown on your thought process on how you see Knicks getting it done in 5.
Okay, so as far as Knicks in 5, so we're going to be starting at home. I think that's really important. I don't know how well the Pacers are going to handle the Madison Square Garden crowd. That's first of all. I think the Knicks are clearly the more talented team. They're not as deep a team. And
yeah.
That's our big weakness. But starters, I think we're pretty clearly the more talented team. I think you could make an argument that all 5 spots favor us before you get to the bench. I am weary of the big duo of Siakam and Turner, the 3-and-D talent that both of them have. And one of the reasons why last week I was kind of debating with our guest about what we should do with Mitch for that. Now, if you look at the Celtics series, when Mitch was on the court, we had the best box plus minus throughout the entire series. Mitch on the court was a huge factor for us.
He found his free throw shots.
There's another thing, right? Because that's the big thing with him is he can't shoot. So, there's a spacing concern there. If you foul him a bunch, you can get away with not giving him the easy points because he won't be able to make them up at the line. But the fact is, he can, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know how long that's going to stay like that.
Of course, but you take it when you can.
Clearly, he's been practicing, and I'm very proud of him. But he's going to have to stay practicing because if he can't make easy shots,
you got to take him off the floor.
Yeah, exactly. If he can't take the free throws and he keeps getting fouled trying to take the dunks and the pick and roll, like then he's not really useful at all on offense. So if he can keep that up, if he can score, if he can make those free throws, I am very strongly in favor of Cat being at the 4 and him being at the 5. I think you need to match their size. I don't think you want to let them outsize you. I mean, OG versus Siakam, is there a huge size difference there? Not really, but Siakam is bigger. I think. I could be wrong about that. I think Siakam's bigger.
Can't be by a lot, though.
Yeah, it can't be by a lot, but you want to have the size advantage. I think, OG and Bridges as the 2 wings, and then Cat and Mitch. You have the size advantage with that 5, and then Hart coming in off the bench, which he been used to basically up until this year. He's been open saying that he'd be willing to do that again. I think that would be a really good way to handle them, and also because the Pacers are not a very good defense. They have been mainly winning by maintaining a really high-paced game, very fast, high-paced basketball, and outscoring their opponents.
Yeah.
But if you can match their scoring but outmatch defense, I think that's the way to beat them, is not let them dictate the pace of the game and not let them go into a shootout with you where it's a high-scoring game. Try to maintain them because they can't stop you.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel that. That was actually one of my biggest, I guess, keys to victory that I had. I wanted to point out, which kind of piggybacks off of yours, is slow down Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to try to run. They want to run. It absolutely has to be a game that the Knicks slow down, and I'm talking about Cat needs to sit on the block. And this might not be one of his favorite series, but he needs to replicate what he did in Boston. And people, and you can attest to this, I was watching that series. Cat was getting to the rim. He didn't have as many 3-point attempts as most games that he normally did. It was one game he had 1 attempt at the 3-point line, and I'm like, I need more of that from Cat, where you only got 1 attempt from 3-point line, and a majority of his shots was at the rim, within the 5-foot radius at the cup, couple of mid-range shots, but for the most part, he was using moves to get to the cup. And I'm like, I need more of that. I need more of that. I need more Cat being aggressive, getting to the cup. And if he does that in this series, I don't think Indiana has a chance to even try to get in this series. I don't think they have an actual guy on their roster that can match up with Cat if he gets nasty and gets to the top, to the cup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have anybody that could match him doing that type of offense.
So if you've noticed, and I noticed this also, since coming to the Knicks, he has decreased his 3-point attempts. I think, like pretty significantly, which is kind of weird. If you're going to be trading for a center and you're trading for him specifically, you'd think that the advantage of getting him as opposed to other centers, despite him not being the best rim protector, is he gives you spacing on top of being great at the rim, right? Like he's such a great offensive weapon that you're sacrificing the rim protection for great spacing in the 3-point shooting. That being said, though, if you can get him to be aggressive at the rim, yeah, I agree that in this case, maybe not every series, right? Like it depends on what you're talking. But in this series, I think you can out big body their defenders.
Yeah.
I think you could just, especially since like they are a weak defensive team, if you could just run in there and keep scoring over and over, I think that is a really good way to use him in this case. But at the same time, because he's such a great 3-point shooter,
He is.
they can't force him outside either because he's dangerous from there too.
Yeah. And that's why I think what works out for him in this series, and Cat in particular, is because he's such a mismatch for their opposition, for Indiana, because I'm just gonna say it. Miles Turner to me is a smaller version of a wannabe Cat. All right. Kind of similar skill set, same thing, but I would prefer Cat, obviously.
Stretch 4.
Yeah, stretch 4, because he is a stretch 4. But the only problem is with Miles Turner, he's he's the size of a big 3, a small 4. He's 6'10", 6, and that's your center. And so
I'm sorry, yeah, stretch 5, yes. But
but when you got a smaller 5 and he's smaller than your 4, as in the Knicks, he's smaller than Cat.
Yeah.
And if you got Cat and Robinson, I would literally force the Pacers to try to get Robinson off the floor. I would literally force them, because Siakam and Turner and whoever else they got on their bench is not big enough and athletically enough to deal with what they got with Cat and Mitchell if they get going, especially Cat. I've never been a big Cat fan, but I'm not a hater and dislike him that enough to not realize on how talented the kid is, and how I kind of feel like he's underachieved in his career. Just me personally. All right.
I think so too. I think that's another thing that has changed since he's gone in New York. He clearly is. He was already kind of going in that trajectory last year with the Timberwolves. He played possibly his best basketball up until that point. And I think he's since then even made a leap from there with New York. And a big part of that, I think, is Thibodeau's coaching. Thibodeau coaches players to play hard, grit, fight for everything, right? Like it's kind of the basketball equivalent of Dan Campbell in a way, where like he builds a culture of grit. And Cat, whose biggest criticism has been softness, especially for his size, I think benefited a lot from being in that system, and he really has lived up to that. He has been playing way tougher, way harder than he ever did in Minnesota, to the point where arguably his biggest weakness now is getting into foul trouble. Because he's too aggressive sometimes.
No, I feel that.
Yeah. So I agree. I think that the fact that we have Cat and Mitch and their bigs are Turner and Siakam, I think gives us a pretty big advantage there.
Huge advantage in my opinion.
Yeah. 100%. And we'll have the best player on the floor. I don't think anybody's going to deny now that Brunson wouldn't be the best player on the floor. I know people loved to underrate him throughout this whole series, but he's arguably been, I think, the best player in the playoffs. You just can't argue with it anymore. Like, he's going to be the best player, certainly the best scorer. And then you have a significantly better defense with much bigger players, and then you have Wingstop, who have been great on both offense and defense. OG's been kind of inconsistent, and he is a big indicator of whether the Knicks are going to play well or not, because when he's on, the Knicks are great. When he's off, the Knicks aren't great. If we can get him going, he might be the thing to look out for. But if we can get him going, then I think we outmatch them on pretty much every level.
You know what's the craziest X factor I think it is for the Knicks? Mikal Bridges. Literally just sitting there as a great defender on the wing. He's a walking double-double if he really just gets the right touches and gets the gets the possession and the flow of things. Like he could easily drop 20. And literally people have, I don't want to say people, but there's been a lot of I guess teams when they play the Knicks, first thing they're going to look at is try to slow down Jalen, and then they're going to look at Cat, And then the first thing they're gonna think is, well, if we slow them two down, we got the game. Y'all forget there's a cold motherfucker named Mikal Bridges just sitting there or walking 20. And despite I know he's had his ups and downs with his shooting in the playoffs, he's still killing motherfuckers on the defensive side. He's still a problem.
Yeah, 100%.
You got to worry about. I mean, people act like he didn't make two great defensive plays to help win those comebacks on two of those games in last series.
Yeah, he was arguably he was the winning move both times on defense.
Yeah,
and he's I mean the way that he was killing them with the mid-range shot, the one of the most beautiful mid-range shots I've ever seen, just over and over and over again. Yeah, I mean that's another thing that they also have to protect from, and that's for a comparatively weak defense. That is 4 great 3-point shooters that they have to deal with. So that's a lot to worry about. You have Brunson, Bridges, OG, and Cat, and especially if both Bridges and OG are on, that's 4 great 3-point shooters that you have to worry about.
Yeah, you might as well call the National Guard, bro.
If
all 4 of those dudes are on.
Yeah, and then Hart, because Hart's 3-point shooting has always been pretty inconsistent as well. And if you've noticed, that has been also a really big indicator of how well the Knicks are doing, because teams will leave him open. Basically just wait for him to take the shot. And if he is aggressive, the Knicks are much better. If he gets scared and goes for a pass instead, the Knicks are worse, because then the teams know, like, okay, we can double team Brunson. We don't need to worry about Hart.
Hart's not shooting.
Right.
They'll key in on that. I'm with you on that.
So we really need to get him aggressive from there. He when he goes for his shots, he actually makes a pretty decent amount of them. His percentage is pretty good. He just doesn't seem to feel comfortable all the time from there, and that needs to be snapped out of him.
Well, to be honest, I think Josh Hart is well aware of his game. I just think he's just that self-aware. Those nights that you see him hesitating to shoot because he's like, it's still not my game. Like, I can still get involved in other things, but I can't remember what game it was last week, last series that he had against Boston. He had fucked around and dropped 23. I said, when Josh Hart is dropping 20 plus, you really getting cooked, bro. Because he's not your offensive guy. He's your glue guy. He's going to do a lot of your shit that doesn't end up on the stat sheet. He's your offensive guy.
100%. But that's the thing, is you're right. He is very self-aware, and he's not very confident in his shooting. And that's a big part of why his shooting is inconsistent, because he's not that confident in it. If you can get him more confident to the point where he'll at least take the open ones. I think he will make a lot of them. When he has taken open shots, he has made a good percentage of those shots. If you can get him to be consistently confident in it, his shot will go down better. And then that's yet another player that the other team has to worry about defending. And that's going to be really important in this series for sure.
If I was Josh Hart, as soon as the season is over, I'm going straight to the lab, whether you win the finals or not. Whenever it ends for the Knicks, first thing I would do if I was Josh Hart is I'm going straight to the lab, and I'm just shooting. Just shoot. I would practice every scenario. I would practice runouts. I would practice a man right in your face. I would just practice being at the 3-point line in all different type of shooting scenarios, and get him comfortable with shooting.
Whatever Mitch did from the free throw line, Hard has to do that too. But from
do that because whatever Rob did to get his shooting right from the free throw line, especially those last 2 games, because Tibbs was like, "All right, big fella, I'm leaving you in there, and you gotta produce." And somehow he couldn't miss from the free throw line, and the dude was correct me if I'm wrong, he's less than a 70% free throw shooter career-wise. I think he's almost 60, if I'm correct.
So 100. He has been less than 70%. He's been a very not good free throw shooter, and he just turned it on. And honestly, one thing that I think is big that I think has kind of been underlooked is if you hear the way when he's at Madison Square Garden, especially, obviously, the way the crowd treats him when he's at the free throw line, it's kind of like a parent who's supporting their kid on stage when they clearly look nervous, like being like, no, it's okay, you got it. I know that sounds crazy, but that energy was really there when, especially in the Celtics series, when he was at the free throw line. And I think that actually worked. I think that in a weird way gave him confidence. And I think that did help a lot. And I think at the Garden, when he's shooting, I think that's not really like the only thing. Obviously, he's clearly been practicing. He shot well in TD also. But I do think that did play a role, and I think that energy from the Garden is something that the fans really need to keep up.
My man Rod, y'all shout out to my man Rod Uncensored, man. Good folks over there. That's my guy. Y'all make sure y'all tap in with my bro Rod Uncensored, man. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Tap into all his content. He's a funny guy. He's been doing this comedian bit lately too. He's raunchy. So if you're sensitive, I'm just letting you know right now, his material ain't your type of shit. All right. And you will get your feelings hurt. Those no bars, but but no, I love it. I love it.
All right. So do you have a prediction for the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, I'm going Knicks in 6.
Okay.
There's going to be some fights. There's going to be a lot of technicals.
Yep.
I can't go against Mr. Clutch. I can't. I absolutely can't. And you know this. I tried to downplay Jalen, and he makes me look crazy every time, bro. I've done enough.
Not the only one.
Look, I've done enough. All right. And I go back and I look at the fact that Dallas made a piss poor attempt to keep him in house, and how crazy does that look now? But hindsight's 2020. But it's a blessing for the Knicks, obviously. But I'm just looking at Jalen Brunson. I'm like, yeah, pimp. I'm starting to put him and Jokic in that same conversation, because I think they almost get talked about the same way. And obviously people, they look at Jalen Brunson, oh, you small dude, you can't, you're guard, blah blah blah, and the next he dropped 40 on you.
Yeah, no, for real. I think he has been wildly overlooked in these like best player in the NBA conversations. And
Ooh.
yes, absolutely.
Right.
I don't even think that's that debatable.
A healthy Kyrie?
Yes. Kyrie's never been able to lead a team. That's huge.
Oh shit.
100% I'll take Brunson over Kyrie. Kyrie's only a supporting character. Give me the leader.
Oh man. You know what? Initially looking at that comment, you can understand my reaction. Initially, if you're just looking at that content, that comment with no context and nothing at all. But if you really think about it, and as I'm starting to really start processing and putting everything together, that gap really ain't that far off between Brunson and Kyrie.
Kyrie's not that much less good than Brunson, but
you slick some bitch. I saw that.
No, for real. Brunson 100% is in. It should be in like the top 5 conversation of the NBA. I think it's crazy that he's not. The fact that he's not, because he's small, he's not a great defender. Well, how many other not great defenders are in that conversation all the time because of their scoring, right? Like Jokic isn't a great defender. Luka's a bad defender, right? But that doesn't.
No. Luka and defenses don't belong in the same conversation. They don't belong in the same sentence.
Right, exactly. And at this point, Brunson's accomplished at least as much as Luka had. Like, I'm tired. I'm tired of the overlooking of Brunson. Brunson is a top 5 player in the NBA, and that needs to be accepted and praised. And he will eventually be number 1.
Nah, I feel you.
I'm going hard on that. I'm not even being a homer. Like, just if you look at the
No,
game, it's just the facts.
look, you start winning clutch awards. I don't. And look, I'll be honest, Randy. I don't give a MVP, outstanding, six man, none of that shit. I really don't.
Mhm.
But if you're gonna give me an award, most clutch motherfucker in the whole league, I kind of like that one.
Yep.
I don't like that one because that means you're gonna put me in a position to win a game.
Yeah, exactly. And like how many superstars? I mean, I've said this about Tatum. Tatum, outside of like a handful of games, is a front runner. He is a great player, but he relies a lot on his teammates. He plays the best when there's the least pressure. Brunson's the exact opposite. You know, if you're looking at both of them as a whole, who is if you have an average team, if you don't have a great all-star, all defense surrounded roster, and you're just have an average team and you're taking one of the two of them, which one is the one that you think is going to win you the most games? I think you're taking Brunson.
Yeah, he's a clutch guy.
Exactly.
And not only that, say what you want. We just saw Mr. Clutch and his team keep coming back and beating the other guy. That's all. That has to matter. I'm sorry. That has to matter. If we're talking a heads up conversation, I'm looking at Brunson and your resume, and I'm looking at Tatum and your resume. I get it. You got the championship and all that. Cute, cool.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't even the second best player on his team throughout that series.
No, I thought he had a very pedestrian finals.
Yeah, outside of Game 5, which was a blowout, and there was no pressure on him, but the rest of the series, when it was in the balance, Holiday, Brown, and White arguably all played better than he did. Porzingis, even when the limited time he was on the floor, was arguably better.
We also saw who won Finals MVP, so that kind of
exactly
give you an idea of how the performance went. And trust me, I'm not slighting Jason Tatum. I'm not. All I'm saying is he's fortunate to be in a great situation around a damn good organization that knows what the hell they're doing, and they got good people around him.
Yeah. And he's a great player still. It's no doubt about that. But is he the guy that's going to drag a bad team or an average team to the finals? I don't think he's that guy.
No, I think I just think he's in a damn good situation, and that's not a slight on. I'll put it to you this way: if Jason Tatum can do what Jimmy Butler was doing in Miami, then I'll shut the fuck up.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's there are those different guys. Brunson, Butler. I would also say Jokic. He has a solid roster. I don't think he has an elite roster around him. Like, he's clearly doing much of the work there. The box plus minus supports that. Giannis has done that for his team. He dragged a horrible roster through this year. Steph did it last year, and I've seen him do it before, right? Like, that's the difference. When you are that guy, when you are that superstar, you can take control of a game and win it. And there are a lot of stars that have shown that they can do that. Tatum is not one of them yet. Do you think it's time to rebuild that Denver Nuggets roster?
I think did we have this conversation?
I don't think we did. Let's talk about it. What do you think?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Obviously you keep Jokic, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Don't do nothing crazy.
Yeah. I wanted to get the shocker out the way first. So
yes.
I say you keep Aaron Gordon. I say you keep Jamal Murray. And believe it or not, I say you move mountains to keep Russell Westbrook. Believe it or not, I think you can. The one person I would consider moving off of and definitely exploring, I think you got to move off of Porter Jr.
Yeah. That's who I was going to say too. Porter Jr. is the one that you might be able to get some value for.
Yeah. Reason why I say that is because I like his talent, but if he's going to have this inconsistency when it comes with the injury and when it comes to his play, you know the potential what he can be.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't never tap into that potential because I'm getting up and down with the injuries and availability. I got to let him be somebody else's problem.
Now, why do you say move mountains to keep Russ? I'm curious about that because I don't agree with that.
Because your second unit's on lock with him. You got your backup point guard with him. Believe it or not, he's not showing signs of slowing down, so he can still give you 20. Can still give you a double-double.
Okay.
And if he really put his ass and effort into it and worked his ass off, he fuck around and still might fuck around and get a couple of triple doubles here and now and then. And it might actually translate to winning success, team success, I should say.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can see all of that. He does still have the same motor that he's always had. And
your second unit shut down because your point guard is Jokic. All right.
Yeah.
They don't use Jamal Murray as a point guard. We know that.
Right. And I also do think that getting a bench player as good as Russ, who's willing to come off of the bench, would be difficult if they tried to move him to get somebody else. So yeah, I can see those points. They really do need someone to be their main defensive guy since Jokic isn't that. I think if they do move Michael Porter Jr. or whatever, try to move him if you can. Get for maybe 2 solid defensive-minded role players.
They had him. They had him in the building when they won that championship. His name was KCP, and they moved off of him.
Right. Yeah. So that I think is probably the move. I don't think they need to go crazy. I do think that teams do overreact, especially in the NBA, to not winning a chip, and they immediately have a fire sale. And I don't think they need to do that. I think that teams, when they get this close, should not overreact and lose their minds and start changing the entire roster. But
Agreed.
trading Michael Porter Jr., getting 2 defensive-minded role players in there, and then leaving it at that is probably a good move.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think that would be enough to get them in a good position. I don't think they need to necessarily do that much more than that, and maybe also try to find a permanent coaching situation.
Yeah, I was about to say that too.
Yeah, because I mean the coach who replaced Malone has been bad or anything, but I don't know if he's the guy that's going to get them to the next level. I just don't know if he has the experience for that. But I don't think he coached badly in the chance he had.
Yeah, his rotations and his substitutions and movement of the roster wasn't bad. It wasn't. But I will say
Jokic obviously gives you a cushion.
Oh yeah. Jokic definitely gives you a cushion, but I saw too much Jokic drawing up the plays after they fired Malone, and I'm like, yeah, you got to work. We got to figure this out because now you look crazy for firing Malone right before the playoffs, and you got Jokic, your star player, pretty much coaching up the offense. Which is, I mean, look, I understand you take that leadership role, but still, you had a finals winning coach in your office and you fired him, so whatever. But I will say this, the Nuggets, they don't need to do a lot, but if they want to really fuck shit up, I think you tap in, you call Milwaukee and say, hey, what would it take? I think you at least call just for shits and giggles. I don't say you do it. I say you at least call.
I think you call too. And that just certainly would fix the defensive issues.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, immediately. What do you think that would take? Who do you think they'd have to give up for him?
You would definitely have to throw Michael Porter Jr. in there. You might have to come off Jamal Murray.
I think they're definitely not taking Michael Porter Jr. and a bench guy, right? They're going to want another starter.
No. You might, to be honest, you might have to come off Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and Jamal Murray. But I think that's okay. You know why I think that's okay? Because I can take the offense of Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon and have that in there. All right. Mm-hmm. The defense is taken care of. All right. And that actually, imagine a pick and roll with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic.
Look, that sounds nasty.
That's what I'm saying.
It sounds nasty. I will say though that would leave them with a very top heavy roster.
We'll leave him with a shooter problem.
Yeah, with the shooter problem, like Jokic can shoot, but out after him, you don't have Russ can't shoot, Giannis can't shoot.
Mhm.
So there would be that. And then also you're giving all of that up for a guy who's already like in his mid-30s.
Yeah, Giannis is right at 30.
Oh, okay, he's at 30. That's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, it sounds great, but if the price is that high, I probably wouldn't do it. I think that giving up that much for a superstar, then you kind of have this like a Phoenix Suns problem where like you have a couple of really good guys and then like not much around them. And
Yeah,
I don't know how well that would work.
I feel
But speaking of the West also, all right, so it's the OKC and Timberwolves, you have it in the background. What's the score right now?
Yeah, no, I just went final. OKC put the whooping on them boys. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander did not have a great shoot night, 10 of 27.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But he did finish with 31 points. Here's my only problem I got with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's a great offensive player.
Mm-hmm.
But especially this year, he's getting a lot of beneficial whistles, bro. He's getting a lot of beneficial whistles. I call me a hater. I don't care. Because I'm just noticing what I'm watching, you know. I'm not a hater of SGA. I think he's a fine young player. He's going to be the MVP this year. He's going to be one of those young players that's going to be, kind of the leaders of the new group. All right. The man gets a lot of beneficial calls when he's driving to the lane, man. And sometimes the dude ain't even getting touched, and he's getting whistles. He's getting MVP whistles.
For the little bit of time I got a chance to watch this game, I saw one immediately. I forget who was defending him. It may have been I.O.W. And he was going towards the rim, and then he spun to do a fadeaway. And at first they were about to call an offensive foul, and they were like, no, actually, this is an and one. And he wasn't touched at all. So, yeah, no, he does. I don't think he's the only superstar that does. I do think that the media kind of picks and chooses who they give that label to. For instance, I think that Luka gets a lot of those too.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that people talk about him getting them a lot. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to be especially as a small guard, if you're a cutter who's going to the rim a lot, you're going to get a lot of contact. And if you're at the superstar level, and especially if you sell it, the refs aren't going to give you a lot. And I think that's a big part of it. It's my least favorite part of basketball. But I mean, it's a league problem, right? It's a league problem that flopping is rewarded to the degree it is. They tried having a rule against it. They haven't enforced it. I think they need to start making more things legal and just letting them fight it out. Just allow them to get physical, right? Like the defenders have to be able to do something.
They're giving the offensive players too much real estate nowadays.
Right, exactly. But it's annoying when they do it. Unless you're especially egregious, I don't know, prime Harden, and I don't think SGA is that bad. Unless you're that level, then I feel like that's more of the league.
He ain't too far off, bro.
Problem.
He ain't too far off from Harden, bro. he ain't too far off.
I don't think it's that bad, man. I've seen some crazy shit from prime Harden.
I get what you're saying, and that's why I'm saying he ain't too far off, because I've seen some crazy shit from Harden, but I've also starting to see some crazy shit from SGA. Because the man is 10 for 27, but he still walks away with 31 points because the man gets to the free throw line.
Yeah,
and look, the refs calling it, so I mean it is what it is.
It's a problem with the refs calling it. It's a problem with the league and the rules and all of that. And yeah, SGA absolutely does sell it, and that. It does annoy me about his game for sure, right?
But it's not his fault, and the reason why I say that is because at the end of the day, the refs got to ref the game a certain type of way, and they've been reffing it a certain type of way especially when it comes with him. But and I'm not taking away from him. I'm not. So I don't want nobody to misconstrue what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the fact that SGA literally, all right? I want people to hear what I'm saying. 10 of 27. He did not have a great shooting night, but he gets 14 attempts from the line, bro.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous. But that's the problem, is that he's rewarded for it. And that the refs need to stop rewarding him for it, because realistically, when people like the NBA's ratings have been on the decline since
They
like
have been.
2000s. This is why. Like, it's people hate watching the game start and stop all the time. They hate watching bitching and crying and flopping, and they hate watching it get rewarded. The refs make it sometimes hard to watch games. Like, it just is how it is.
They do.
And that's why, like, they're superstars, and that's another big thing. Back in the day with the Magics, the Larry Birds, the MJs,
Yeah.
Kobe, whatever, like, I don't know how easy it's going to be to get a superstar that's that level of beloved, because we see all of them, not all of them, but a lot of them do shit like that, and fans go, and then it's like, he's being a baby, right? And they don't want to get behind it. It's why LeBron, despite being a superstar, has so many detractors. That's a big reason why, because he acts like a baby sometimes and tries to get fouls.
Yeah,
And if you want a superstar who's going to be like universally beloved, they can't be a flopper. They can't get a flopper reputation. Luckily, Ant-Man, who they've been trying to make that guy, he has been able to avoid that. He doesn't really play like that. So maybe that's why he's the one that's going to work. But he needs to get a chip first, and for him to really be that guy. So that's kind of my thing on that, is the refs need to stop rewarding it. It's hurting the league for sure.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Look, I don't know how they're going to fix it, but maybe this is what they want. I don't know. One thing I do know, if they can get somewhat replicate what the NBA has been looking like in the playoffs with some of these close games and guys, teams coming back and not quitting, like I'll take that all day. But oh yeah, we got a couple more minutes left in the show. Let's talk a little WNBA discourse. I'm just gonna say this, and then I'll let you have the floor, Randy. All right, I love WNBA. All right, I've been a fan of it for the whole 28 years it's been in existence. All right, what I have seen with the WNBA discourse over the last couple of years, I am absolutely disgusted, and I mean that. I absolutely mean that. When you got all these talking heads, especially with these huge platforms and all their huge followings, like the Dave Portnoys and the RG3s and the whoever it is, if we're gonna have a WNBA discourse, why does it 9 times out of 10, it's not even about basketball, bro. That's where I'm at with this. All right, I don't care you like Caitlyn, like Angel, like this person, like that. I don't care. Here's why I'm at with WNBA discourse. The league just started Friday and Saturday. This past Friday and Saturday, and the talks is already so disgusting off of one funky ass basketball play. It was a foul. First of all, Angel got away with a push off and then gets a hard foul. I don't care about a reaction. I can care less. The dramatics. I'm talking about the discourse that is surrounding everything that has to go on with Angel and Caitlyn. And I'm like, none of this is basketball. Help me out, folks. When you have the discourse about WNBA, shut the fuck up if it's not about basketball, please. Please. I can't even enjoy the damn WNBA like I used to, because it's going to be, soon as I watch a game, soon as I see it in, or especially if a Caitlyn and Angel Reese matchup happens, soon as it ends, go straight to the internet, and I bet you're going to see some dumb shit get talked about, and none of it has nothing to do with basketball. I'm fed up, bro. I am disgusted. I am absolutely I'm beyond here. Like, I'm over my head with the whole WNBA discourse. I don't even get involved in it no more. I don't put my energy into it because it leads to nothing about basketball. I am absolutely done. If you're not gonna talk basketball when it comes to WNBA, don't talk to me. I'm done. I am absolutely done with it. Just the vitriol and the hate in this shit that's not basketball related that happens to get put on the WNBA. And it, quite honestly, man, it's killing the WNBA for me. I don't know how it is for you, but it's absolutely ruining it for me because I literally got to watch a game and just turn my phone off or computer off and just try to occupy my time with something else.
So there's a few different things that are going on, because when I saw the foul and all the stuff that was going around it, I reached out to you and was just like, we got to talk about this on Tuesday, for sure. There are a lot of things going on. First of all, the media knows that drama and beefs and feuds sell.
Yes.
So they're pushing it. And there is a very legitimate beef between Clark and Reese.
I think so.
Yeah. Now, what I said about this when it happened was that Reese, the way that Reese has been treated by the media is very similar to the way that Shedeur Sanders was treated by the media.
Ooh.
And Reese has basically not done that much wrong. And she has been essentially villainized. And look, you can look at both of their games. Clark gets away with pretty hard fouls all the time. And yeah, Reese also got away with a foul. And Clark was pissed off about it, understandably. And she did also understandably foul Reese to stop her from getting easy points to make her earned at the line. Like Clark said, totally reasonable thing to do. Here's the thing, though. Reese and Clark had been arguing with each other the entire game. And it was not Reese talking shit to Clark. It was both of them.
Mm-hmm.
They'd been talking shit to each other the entire game.
Yeah.
If you look at the foul, it is very obvious, especially with the context of both the shit talking and Clark just watching Reese foul her teammate. She was obviously trying to actually knock her down. You can tell by the way she spins her, like, to get the leverage, right? Like, she's trying to get her down. She's trying to send a message to Reese. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't either. It was a basketball hard foul. It was that's what you see. You see that on NBA. You see that in college ball. You see that in high school ball.
Right. And like, how many NBA fans, like literally what we were just doing, were just like, I wish back when basketball players were allowed to, tough it out and scrap it, like the good old hard days. And then now this, and like Angel Reese yells at Clark and everyone's wants like pitchforks and torches at her. Like, it's ridiculous. And it's a huge double standard. And there's been a huge double standard that Reese has tried to address.
I agree with
Maybe
that.
not always the best way, but she has tried to address.
And I agree with that.
The entire time is that Reese and Clark both have brought a lot of attention to the WNBA.
Angel Reese's
credit for it. What?
You bring up a great point.
Mm-hmm.
I think Angel Reese's message gets lost because they don't like the way that she delivers it.
And also, similarly with Shedeur, certain people, when they are confident and brash and stand up for themselves,
they don't like it. Yeah,
they don't like it. The media responds very badly to that.
I agree.
And I mean, look, it's just going to be a buck. Like, there is a white-black element to it. That's not Clark's fault. And Clark has, in fact, herself acknowledged that fact.
I'm glad you brought that up because she's very aware of the discourse. She's very aware of it. And she's gone out of her way to try to kill that discourse that comes with tied with her and Angel. She's tried to kill it. Yeah,
Clark has acknowledged, has said in interviews, like, I acknowledge the fact that I'm in interviews, in the way that I'm treated, right? Like, it's true. The fact that nobody talks about her hard fouls, but everybody talks about Reese's, is because of that. The way that her confidence is seen versus Clark's confidence is seen.
Yeah,
it has to do with that. It obviously has to do with that. None of this is Clark's fault. However, one thing I will say that is Clark's fault Potentially. I'm not really sure because it's hard to know what someone's motive is in the moment.
Oh yeah, of course.
Clark absolutely did purposefully hard foul and throw her down to send a message. She clearly also does not like Reese. But when Reese got up to argue with her, first of all, Reese was not flopping because if you're going to flop, you're going to stay there, right? Like you're not going to immediately get up and start talking shit. Like you're going to sell it. She didn't. So she wasn't flopping. If you see the way that Clark spun her, she was obviously trying to knock her down because she was pissed that Reese had just gotten away with the foul.
Yeah.
Clark walking away in that moment while everybody's holding back Reese, despite the fact that Clark was the one that instigated the physical interaction with her, justified or not, I think it was justified, but she still did instigate it.
Mm-hmm.
Reese is going to be made to look crazy because she's mad about it.
Because the way she reacted, of course.
And that's always how it is. It's, look at the way that people talk about it, ratchet, ghetto. Like, people use these words with Reese all the time. Reese hasn't done anything. And I don't know how much Clark is purposefully, especially considering she is aware of that. Like, I don't know how much she was knowingly manipulating that in that moment. But Clark had to know that if she just walks away after doing that and just lets Reese yell at her, the media is going to turn on Reese. Is that Clark knowingly using her privilege? Is that Clark just trying to protect her media image? Is that Clark knowing that she's smaller and is probably going to lose a fight? Maybe it's all three.
And that's what I'm about to say. It might be a mix of all three, though.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just Clark actually just didn't want to fight. Maybe it's that one too, right? Like it could be any of those things. But Reese is right that the media has treated her differently than Clark. Is Clark the better player? Yes. Is Clark more marketable? Partly because she's white, but yes. Does Clark have a play style that is more appealing to people, that she's a scorer first, a shooter, as opposed to a rebounder and like rim protector? Yes, all of those things are true. But they have both brought lots of attention to WNBA.
I'm glad.
Only Clark has been given credit for that. And when Reese tries to bring that up, she's seen as an angry black woman.
Yeah. And that's why I think the discourse is disgusting. Because two things can be right at the same time. All right.
Mm-hmm. It's both true that there is a racial element in the discrepancy of the way that Reese is treated, but also that it's not Clark's fault.
Yeah. Kaylin asked for none of this. She just wanted the ball.
Yeah.
Now,
and there are a lot of the WNBA. There are definitely a lot of players that are resentful, and I do think that they misdirect that resent at Clark specifically, and that's the problem. They should be directing it at the media, not personally Clark.
100% agree. No, 1,000% agree. Because Kaylin, she didn't ask for none of this. She's gone on, like you said. I've seen just about every interview, the same ones you see. She's multiple times. I don't like the way the discourse is going on around our league. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I didn't ask for it. I don't agree with it. She's always giving props to the, and she's personally said, hey, I know that I'm a white woman, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't get the road paved for me by these wonderful black women before me. She's gone on and said this, y'all.
Yeah, she will. She's not like an Elvis. Like, she's not like purposefully trying to manipulate the system. Like,
you ain't nothing but a hound dog. Yeah, she ain't thieving. All right. She's giving credit when credit is due and acknowledge those that came before her.
And there are other examples of, because like I said, like it is a media and league run thing that they do want a new white hope, and Clark happened to be able to fit into that mold. That, again, that's not Clark's fault, but it is something that's true, that there is clearly an effort to make her the face of the WNBA, and it's not just because she's a great player, because she is, but there have been lots of other great players that have been there too. It is very much partly because of that. I do think we've seen it in the NBA, for instance. I think that Steve Nash benefited a little bit from that with his two MVPs. I think that Luka has benefited from that. I'm not going to say Jokic. I'm not going to pretend that anything that Jokic has done is not 100% earned, although it's maybe a little convenient, but it's entirely earned. I think
I'm done going against that guy. He's earned it.
no, he's on. Yeah, he actually is the best player in the world. He just happens to be white. But I do think there have been other white players, even great deserving white players like Nash and Luka, who have benefited at least a little bit from the fact that there is a concerted attempt from the NBA to try to have someone appeal to those audiences. And Clark is benefiting from that, but she does also still deserve everything that she has because she is still a great player regardless.
Yeah, she's still good. Because there's a couple of trophies, MVPs that belong to Kobe Bryant that's sitting in Steve Nash's home, but I ain't gonna say nothing. But
right.
But that's for another conversation, another day. But no, I'm glad we had this conversation because if we can just, I know it's gonna be hard for y'all as a society to get on one accord and just talk basketball when it comes to Caitlin and Angel. I know it's gonna be tough for y'all. But please, just take heed to what me and Randy said and just do us a favor. When you have the discourse about the WNBA and specifically Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, can we keep it basketball? That's all I ask.
I guess the unfortunate part of that is the beef is a big reason why the WNBA has skyrocketed in views and representation. And if they didn't talk about it,
yeah,
would the WNBA be being talked about or the way that it is?
You bring up a fair point, bro. That's why we need to have this conversation, is because it's like, how can the WNBA get to a point where you're talking about their actual sport, the ladies playing basketball, instead of having this discourse literally off of the first game of the season? We're already having this conversation. We ain't. They probably got another 2, 3, 4 months of season left, and you're already knee deep into crazy discourse about Caitlin and Angel off of one weekend already.
And that's 100% what it's going to be for a lot of it, right? Like the Fever and Sky games are going to be the ones that get the highest ratings, even if it's just for people to hate Reese. Like it's going to be a reason to get attention on those games. For a lot of people who have never watched WNBA before, they just have heard of Clark and Reese. They know that they saw the foul video go around a lot. They've seen Reese in the media. They've seen Clark in the media, and they're kind of just watching for them. So the narrative is going to be around those two, like the hero and villain of the WNBA. Like that's what it's going to be. And then I've learned that, because I wasn't a WNBA watcher. I'll be 100% honest about that. Yeah. And I've learned it, like Asia Wilson, and I've learned about a lot of other great players, and this kind of stuff is going to bring attention onto those women that haven't gotten it and do deserve it. That they're going to start getting talked about more because we're going to be seeing them play against Clark and Reese, and now we're going to learn about them. And I think that's great.
Yeah. I kind of look at it as a double-edged sword. Like, the talk about Caitlin is going to bring the eyes, but I'm like, damn, man, and not to knock on you, but there's going to be other people that's going to be like you that never heard of Asia Wilson, and I'm like, how haven't you heard of Asia Wilson? Well, if you don't watch the sport, and the only thing that brings you to the sport is a Caitlin Clark, it's going to be hard to understand that there's an Asia Wilson that's been balling. It's going to be hard to understand about a Breanna Stewart or Sabrina Ionescu or or some of these other Kelsey Plum and other great ladies that they got in this league. So I do see the benefit of having Caitlin in the league for the last year and so far this year. I understand the benefit. I'm just not a fan of the discourse that comes with it. I'm not. Because when I've been a fan of this league for 28 years, and then all of a sudden, I'm just now for the last year in one game, now two, because she played tonight. Now all of a sudden, Caitlin's the end all be all WNBA. I'm like, how? There was a league before her. there was a league. You know, now that she's get, you know, there's going to be a league after her. Hopefully, with all the popularity. Hopefully, with WNBA. Hopefully, there's a league after her. I don't know, man. I just think that when people have the conversations online or in, you know, public settings, whatever, just please have conversations about the actual basketball being played. All right. Like all this other shit that's not basketball. And
also try be objective, right? Like try to if the media was more objective and more balanced in the way that they covered everybody, then we also wouldn't have a lot of these problems. I mean, like there's this narrative going around that all of Reese's, or like most of Reese's rebounds are off of her own missed shots. It's not true, but because people don't like her, that's what's going around now.
They hear it and they run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, trust. I didn't see all types of made up lies that people will run with just to prove that their point. Prove that right. Oh, we've seen it. I know you've seen it. I know I've seen it. So it happens, man. But hey, let's get up out of here. Next week, well, I'm gonna be on there tomorrow. I'm gonna start going through these schedules because obviously with the NFL schedules being released next Tuesday. Let's go over Kansas City and New York. Go over our teams, and we'll kind of. So we got a week to kind of look at our schedules and kind of, you know, objectively look at them and start looking at wins and losses, and we'll come up with a win-loss record prediction for our teams next weekend. And then we'll kind of go through the rest of the teams leading up to the season.
Let's do it.
We'll start that next week. So again, I'll be on air tomorrow, but definitely tune in with me tomorrow. And then we'll reset next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I know I did not have a show yesterday. It's okay. Don't get mad at me. Bro, I was tired. All right. It is what it is. We'll be here tonight. We'll be here tomorrow. And then we're going to kick off that NFL series with Randy next Tuesday, leading up to the NFL season. We'll preview all 32 teams, win-loss records, predictions, all that good jazz. And yeah, man, this was fun. This was a damn good episode. Love the talk conversation. But find Randy Panther on Acid on Instagram if you need some audio needs. All right. Tap in with my guy. Oh, you know what I didn't do today?
What didn't you do today?
Hey, man, my motherfucking brother passed the bar, bro. I didn't brag on my bro. I almost forgot. I didn't brag. All good.
All good.
All right. Now that I got the bragging for my bro out the way, y'all know where to find me. You know where to find my bro. Until then, come back next Tuesday for another Taco Tuesday. Me and Randy. All right. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been lovely. Hey, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Peace and love, y'all. We'll holler at y'all.
Yeah. Solid Hill TDS, what's up? Yeah, come on. I.O.W. Sports Network, late night edition. Let's go. Come on.
We about to raise the bar. Wild card mall. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Modelo Lisaga. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card mall. We about to